Hello everyone. Sure, it's Friday already. For those of us who are living in South Africa, we are starting the beginning of our second week of lockdown and confinement if we aren't in essential services. So I hope all of you are coping with being at home, being confined to your own properties. I did see, for those of you who are living in security estates, I did see an article today that in some of the estates they're allowing people to walk around on the streets as long as they obey the rules of social distancing. So lucky you if you live in an estate. Unfortunately, I don't. I was thrilled yesterday to see someone joined the group from Romania. Her name is Ralu. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it properly. But you know, my very first boss ever in an advertising agency, his name was Mircea Constantinu, and he had escaped from Romania. It was a communist country in those days, and his story is so exciting about how he's escaped in the boot of a little. Mircea was over 6 feet tall. So Ralu, if and when you do watch this video, I just wanted to say Ce faci, which is the Romanian greeting to say how are you, and I'm bine. So that was just a wonderful personal throwback for me. Hi Michelle, thank you for commenting. It's lovely to see you online today. So I don't want to spend too much time focusing on the coronavirus because I think we see so much of it everywhere, but I do think that as coaches, people working in business, and particularly as coaches, we are helping our clients to kind of manage. Hi Alexa, hi Alison, yeah, Friday, definitely. We're helping people to manage their present as well. Create some kind of plans and certainty about their future. And I think personally that if we go back in history, we had the SARS bug in, I think it was about 2007, which we all thought was bad when that happened. We've now got this COVID-19 virus, which is puts SARS, into I think that this, or a lot of, and I know a lot of people agree with me, that this is not going to be the last of the superbugs. In fact, I heard that Bill Gates was interviewed last night on a video that he did. Oh, am I frozen? Bill Gates, just let me know, hit likes and hearts, and if anybody can comment, just to let me know if I'm still alive. The signal is coming and going. Anyway, Bill Gates was interviewed. He did a video in 2015 about the fact that, oh, I'm free too. Oh, sherbet. I'm back. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Alison. Thanks for the hearts, and if you can keep them coming, because it just lets me know that. Thanks, Alexa. I really, really appreciate it. Then it just lets me know on an ongoing basis that I am still live. So I do appreciate you for that. But Bill Gates was interviewed in 2020, and in that would be our single biggest challenge that we would have to fight, rather than world wars and things like that. So let's face the reality that within the next 5 to 10 years, we and our clients. I'm back. I'm not sure who's still with me, but thank you for your patience if you did hold on. The signal today has been absolutely appalling. But what I was saying was that we and our clients, and the way that we work with our clients, we need to move forward in the knowledge that we're going to have to deal with something similar and possibly even worse than this coronavirus at some time in the future. And so we need to be mindful about how we do our own strategic planning in our businesses and take that potential very real scenario into account and build agility and resilience. Thank you for the icons to tell me that I'm back online and you can see me. But we need to build agility and resilience into our businesses with this foreknowledge. We cannot afford to move forward as professionals without being realistic about the fact that something like Corona, and possibly even worse than Corona, is going to occur within the next 5 to 10 years. But I want to take the positive side of this, because that is part of my nature, to try and look on the positive side of things, and say to all of you who are on this training and that are using this time to develop your skills and knowledge, that you are focusing on the right thing. You are taking the best possible action that you could possibly be taking, because you are honing your skills and finding ways of being able to continue running your businesses despite and in spite of the current situation. So I take my hat off to all of you, and I really applaud you for what you're doing. It has forced us to overcome some of our fears and reluctance about getting into the online space and environment. But with this knowledge that we hold, we know that this is going to be our reality going forward. So well done for getting in at the early stages and for learning to overcome your fears, because you will just be that much further ahead when we have to deal with something like this again. Hi Monica, thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming. It's lovely to see you. I was also reading, those of us living in South Africa, there's a well-known futurist and scenario planner called Clem Sunter. He used to head up Anglo-American here in South Africa, and he created a scenario planning tool, quite an advanced one, for businesses to use to make sure that when they're planning their strategy, they take into account all sorts of, or create different possible scenarios given what is happening in their world at any one time. And he was interviewed about the coronavirus at the beginning of March, and at that stage he says in his interview that Alison, you've definitely found that this past week you've been more motivated than the whole year. Well, that's fabulous. You guys are doing the right things. You're taking action, and I think taking positive action helps to keep up our motivation. So keep on keeping on and keep on taking action. But anyway, So Clem was interviewed at the beginning of March, and it's quite funny to read his article in News 24, because he says, you know, we're just about to hit the 100,000 mark of how many people have been infected worldwide with the virus. Well, I think already today we've obviously gone over the million mark, because last night when I was looking at it, we were very close to the 1 million mark. But what he said in that article, and I am going to read directly, I took a little bit out of it, so he talks about his series of books on scenario planning are about having the mindset of a fox, that a fox is agile, adaptive, it's a real survivalist. And so he says a fox is a person who keeps ahead of the game by being open-minded and objective as the evidence one way or the other flows in. Now, remember earlier this week we spoke about having a growth mindset, and I think that being open-minded, objective, holding a growth mindset is quintessential to how we behave as coaches, or how we are with our clients and what we develop in terms of our clients. So he carries on to say, equally, foxes are individuals who are prepared to adapt their personal behavior in light of the challenges posed by the scenarios, and at the same time protect their loved ones. Foxy companies will continuously review their strategy and tactics, and this is where, as coaches working with corporates, you can come in and position yourselves as a foxy company. And there are lots of foxy people on this who've been in this group. So foxy companies will continuously review their strategy and tactics and have a radar system evaluating the impact that the virus is having on their markets and supply chains. They will do their best to take the risks out of play. They will keep the health of their employees upmost in their minds and minimize the chances of the virus invading their workforce. And finally, foxy politicians and foxy nations will lay aside their differences and attempt to present a united front against the future spread of the virus. Maybe this virus will help us realize that we all live on the same planet and avoid COVID-19 having the last word. To avoid COVID-19 having the last word, we need to create a shared destiny. And I think that's such a beautiful thing to hold as coaches, that we need to help our clients. We need to create a shared destiny with our clients, but we also need to help our clients create a shared destiny. In case any of you who are interested, one of South Africa's longest standing, certainly one of the original coaches who qualified in South Africa back in early 2000, Dale Williams, and he's a former president of Comensa, been very, very active and prominent in the coaching industry. Dale was very taken with Clem Santa's scenario planning model, and Dale wrote his master's thesis for Middlesex University when he got his coaching master's. He took Clem's business scenario planning model and he adapted it into a personal scenario planning model that we can all use for ourselves, but also as a way of working with our clients. And it's a very useful tool. So Dale has written an online tutorial, and he also gives away a free workbook, and I will put a link to his online tutorial later in the group for any of you who are interested in looking into it. I think it's a very valuable way of being able to start off a coaching relationship with a client that is model or framework agnostic, because then you can kind of move into, if you're a trained NLP coach or a thinking environment, then you can move, having established the scenarios that your client needs to be facing on a personal and professional basis. You can then move into how you would normally work with your clients. So it's a very nice tool to have in your basket and as an overlay. But today, our focus is on how we maximize our marketing. And it's all very well putting content out on a regular and consistent basis, but what can we do to take it to that next level? So where we now build connection and community. So I want you to focus around answering the questions of, how do you build or create the 3 C's of marketing? So consistency, moving that onto connection, and then moving that in turn onto community. Hi Silas, thanks for letting me know you're watching. It's lovely to see you online again today, and I hope that you're safe and well with your family. I asked you in the email that went out earlier today, and also in the group, thanks Alison for letting me know that I'm still online, what can you do to bring you one step closer to your potential clients using whatever methods during the course of this week you have chosen or feel comfortable with using to market your practice? So, and I also asked you, what are your calls to action, to pop them into the group, and what assets you have identified. And I'm not sure if anybody has answered that, because I hadn't seen any answers by the time that I went on. I just want to kind of sidetrack a little bit into Alison posted a comment earlier this week around, she was watching one of my videos, and you posted a comment around trust. And there was some amazing research done, and it's been done over more than a decade. So the researchers kind of started at one point, and then they shifted the focus of the, they would put out a paper with their findings, and then they would shift their focus onto looking at something else. But they are all behavioral economists. And the research that they did showed that people were actually the first brands and faces were the first logos. So whatever your reluctance might be, oh gosh, so Alison, you say you didn't get the day 4 or 5 emails. I will send all of the emails out as a broadcast, and I'll also just send out a link to, or maybe I should post the content of the emails in every day's, I'll create units for every day of the training and post the content of the emails so that you can access them easily there. It's so frustrating. Anyway, so what I want to say to you is that whatever form of marketing platform or tool you have settled on to start off with and to build your comfort zone in, remember that people need to see something of you. So that we do need to show up on a personal level in some way. We do need to show our faces so that people can start to really, really connect to us. And we need to choose or select something that we feel authentic doing, we feel comfortable doing, because that is the only way that we are going to be able to market ourselves with any level of consistency. So if a 5-day email training is something that you feel incredibly comfortable with, and you feel that you can show up with your authentic voice, and when I speak about authentic voice, often we write something and then we sit for hours and we polish and wordsmith it, and we kind of try and put it into, we think we've got to put it into the language that our clients speak, or the words, we use terms and words that would be relevant to that our clients would use. And I kind of also want to say, in the process of doing that, it's all very well to wordsmith and make sure that you've got no typos and grammatical errors, but don't lose your voice. And I always advise my clients to write like you speak. So in other words, if you're writing a series of articles on your blog, I want to be able to go in there and read your voice. I want to be able to get a real strong sense of who the person is. If I was to eventually engage you as my coaching client, who the person would be that I would eventually meet one-on-one, or whether it's online. So write like you speak. And that's one of the reasons why I quite like using video, because by creating videos and then putting them through a transcription service, or even creating voice recordings on your phone and putting them through a transcription service, you're ending up with articles that sound like you. And so that the client that eventually engages your services is not going to get someone who's going to show up in a completely dissonant way from this persona, this online persona that they've built a relationship with. So find something that you can, where you can show up with authenticity. So find something that you are comfortable with, because it's only by showing up with in our authentic way that we'll be able to be consistent in the work that we do. And find the one thing where we feel safe, because if we feel safe, we will keep on doing it. And the more safe and comfortable we feel, the more we're going to continue doing it. And remember, the other day we spoke about Alison is a trail runner, And I asked her, when she first started running, did she ever think that she would get to the level that she's at now? And similarly, with the work that we are doing with online, with marketing ourselves and our practices online, when we first start, it's like, running that first kind of 100 meters, or from lamppost to lamppost, and then we get to, okay, well, we can manage 2 lampposts in a row, and take it even further. And don't be hard on yourself. Just keep that series of lampposts in mind and keep at it until you get to being able to run around the block, metaphorically. There's I hope that all of you had a chance to download Elizabeth Mackenzie's messaging meditation yesterday. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to listen to it, and if it had any positive effect or impact. I'm so proud to be able to share it with her permission. But as she's a copywriter, and her number one way of marketing her practice is via email. She's got a website, but she gets people to sign up into her email, her automated emailing program, and gets you into her email list. And she runs almost on a monthly basis. She runs one or another promotion via email. So she's not highly active online. She's not highly active on Facebook doing lives and things like that to market her business. It's through emails. And if you do sign up into her email funnel, I do just want to warn you that her personality really does shine through, her true personality. And she drops quite a few F-bombs frequently in her emails. And initially, even though I swear quite a lot in my shoes of self, initially, I kind of read these emails and thought, oh, this is coming from a professional person, and she's just dropping F-bombs left, right, and center. But I've gradually come to accept that this is her natural personality, and that she's chosen to show up as authentically as possible in her own way. So again, I'm not encouraging you to start peppering your articles and your emails with swear words and F-bombs and all the rest of it, but write like you speak. Keep your voice, honor your voice. I've got another client who has got the most unbelievable quick wit and incredible sense of humor, and just can come back like that. I really do wish that I was like her. And when I look at her marketing and her the way that she positions herself on her website and in her articles and everything, and we are going to have a conversation about this, because when I look at it, her spunk and her personality doesn't come through. It's actually, her marketing is quite vanilla. She does target the corporate environment, so I'm sure that she is toning herself down quite a lot because of how she wants to appear professionally. But there is this fine balance between building connection with people by showing up in the most authentic way possible, and by not toning yourself down so that you become vanilla and just don't then stand out from the crowd. Because at the end of the day, what do we know? We know that brands that are really successful get attention. They engage the emotions of their potential clients, and the way of engaging your clients' emotions is to build connection and to be yourself, be your authentic self. The right people will find you. So I don't know if I've spoken about this one chap who connected with me on Facebook. He sent me a friend request a few weeks ago. And then after, so I make a habit of going through people's profiles, before I accept requests. In fact, I had a friend request today from this female who doesn't have much in her feed, and her photograph is actually, with the light behind her, so you can't see any detail, but it looks as though she's, going for a swim without wearing a costume. And so I've decided that I'm going to decline her friend request, because I think she's a bit dodge, even though she is friends with quite a few other people that I'm connected with on Facebook. I just don't agree with arbitrarily accepting friend requests from everybody. But anyway, this guy tried to he sent me a friend request, and I went through it, and went through his profile and accepted it. And quick as a wink, he sent me a personal message to invite me to join his specialist group. Now, he'd obviously searched through Facebook to find people who would make appropriate clients for his business, and clearly I come across as falling into his target market. So he invited me to join his group and sent me a link to his group via personal message, and I duly accepted it. I mean, I didn't see that there was any harm in joining his group. And then a day or so later, I got a Facebook message inviting me to have a strategy call with him. And I didn't really feel like doing this, so I responded back. I made an excuse about the fact that I was just about to go into an online coaching call. I did, in all truth, within the next half an hour, have an online coaching call come up, but I could have had a quick 15-minute strat call with him. I just didn't feel like doing it at the time. Before I could even wipe the out of my eyes, I had another Facebook message from him with a link to his calendar, inviting me to book a strategy session with him that was convenient for my own timing and calendar. So what I've tried to illustrate to you is how somebody has very, very cleverly created a customer journey of engagement with greater and greater and greater levels of engagement. So I hope that that's been a really practical example for you. The fact of the matter is, I felt bad about turning him down a second time, so I think it's next Tuesday at 3 o'clock I'm going to be having that strat call. I mean, I'm a sucker, aren't I? But look at ways that whatever method you have decided to use to market, look at ways of crafting a client journey so that at the end of the day you can build a closer and closer connection with them, and how you can, without being pushy or salesy, get them into a one-on-one Zoom call. So doing something similar to what this chap has done on using Facebook Messenger. Look at what your clients struggle with and what their issues are, and some of you have been done some really great work in the group this week about identifying what your clients' most common issues are and what they struggle with. And look at creating a quiz through SurveyMonkey or Google Docs that you can get clients to do, or potential clients to do, that you can post on your website or something, that depending on the answers they give, gives them a particular Alison squirm, but depending on the answers that they give you, gives a particular solution or points them in a particular direction, so that you just bring them that one step closer to having a relationship with you. And it is said that people find it very hard to resist doing things like personality profiles and online quizzes. They're one of the most popular ways of getting engagement. So give it some thought. It's easier than you actually think. But also make sure that if your clients or potential clients are engaging with you by answering polls that you are running online or doing quizzes, that you reward them. So it might be with a free a free 30-minute completely non-salesy coaching session on one of the issues that they have identified that is their biggest problem. It's just we have to give in order to receive. And so I do think that there is tremendous merit in having a spirit of abundance and being prepared to give away a certain number of minutes or hours every week in one-on-one strategy calls to secure a sale. I just wanted I see there've been quite a few comments. So okay, so I will put the emails out in the group. I do apologize for them not going out. You see, technology can sometimes fail you. And so, yes, Alison, you can't afford to continually be a perfectionist. Alison says you've done 8 days of video on your Instagram stories, and you can say the video definitely helps you to speak more naturally and authentically. And thanks to my advice, she has saved her videos to create transcripts from them. Fabulous. So now you'll be able to, once you've created those transcripts, you'll have articles that are already half written. So well done. And if you have saved your videos, consider your next step being to create a YouTube channel. You can also upload them onto your YouTube channel. And once you've done that, in your LinkedIn profile, you can then put a link to that video with a little bit of a description about what that video is about. You can put a link to that video as a post in your LinkedIn profile. So, I mean, from one video, you are getting 4 or 5 different pieces of content. It just helps you to simplify your life. Alexa, you're saying you definitely need to get closer to technology, and it feels like you could be missing out on a lot of opportunities. I must say, Alexa, when I was doing my online stalking the night before last and having a look at your website, I loved that blog post that you'd written about the value of a personal brand in a corporate environment and helping you to become more professionally resilient. I really loved the attitude that you've taken on that. Alison, yes, you support the point, give in order to receive. Yeah, it's a no-brainer, this to have a mentality of abundance. And Claire, for example, Claire Holden, who's been on this group, the whole of I think since the day we started lockdown, on her professional business page, which is on Facebook, Claire Holden Empowerment Coach, she's been sharing Deepak Chopra's 21-day abundance challenge and meditations, and it's been fabulous. Even though I've done it before, it's actually been so nice just to be able to, so convenient, click and go on and do the meditations every morning or every evening. And it can be as simple as that. I mean, it's not even the Deepak Chopra's 21-day abundance meditation is not even Claire's original work, but she is, it's consistent with her brand and the work that she does. And so she's using resources that have been created by other people to fill her stream and to give her content. And at the same time, she has when she gives the link to each of the videos, she also makes a personal content, a personal comment, and encourages us to think about that particular training. It gives us a question to focus on, and the way that you will think about it. So Alison says, yes, your Toastmasters talk today will be turned into an article for LinkedIn. So presumably you guys are meeting virtually now, having virtual meetings for Toastmasters. It's something on my bucket list, is joining a Toastmasters club, and there's a new one that's just recently been chartered, right in my area, but close by. So I think once lockdown is over, it's something that I'm going to sign up for, learn how to say fewer ums. There we go. There I go again. So we spoke about being really, really mindful about the issues and pain points that your clients are experiencing. So make sure that when you create content, and you might even want to consider creating your own content wheels around the pain points that are coming up, or the issues that your clients are most hi Vanda, the issues that your clients are most regularly bringing to your coaching conversations, and then again creating smaller articles spinning off from those, because every main issue, it might be the center of the problem, but there might be different ways of tackling whatever that problem is. So always keep your customer's point of view in mind, and you can what you can do is to create a series of articles and resources that, if you know that you've got somebody signing up to receive your emails who comes from a particular type of a corporate environment, this gives you the opportunity to reach out to that individual and say, hey, here's an article, a link to an article on my blog that you might find particularly pertinent or interesting in your professional capacity, because I know that you are an HR leader and are currently facing, post-corona, people are going to be going back into the workplace, reintegrating into a workplace that is fundamentally different. And how can we as coaches support the individuals, but also the leaders and the human resources teams to help with this reintegration? We may even find that people will be coming back into society with a fear of intimacy and with a fear of interpersonal connection. And how do we help people realistically deal with that? How do we give them strategies? There's loads of angles, different angles that you can take, so that you can tap into the personal fears and anxieties that your clients might be feeling or having to deal with, and send them an appropriate resource to help them deal with that particular situation. So yes, I've made notes, sending people on your email list personalized emails, taking the time to sit down and write something that is specifically targeted at that person. And also don't forget to continually ask people for input and feedback. So try and get an understanding of, if you have sent something out, ask the person to respond to your email with a comment on how it's made them feel, or how it how it has impacted them. Has it given them a different perspective? Would they like more information? So always give people that call to action, that opportunity to interact with you. Remember, the 3 C's are consistency, connection, and building community. Let's just go through the comments that have come on. So Alison saying, yes, Toastmasters all online, and today you had to do an online gain consensus talk, and how difficult you found that. So what did you learn from it? And what can you use in terms of your learnings to translate into how you are showing up online, and how you get interaction and community from people online? Vanda, yes, there will be lots of fallout with people having to reorientate. And I attended this morning, I attended an online, coaching community support talk. So it was, it was a free kind of online webinar, and this one woman, she just really she was one of the speakers for the 2-hour session, and she is a coach who deals with trauma and personal deals with emotions and trauma. And she said she has this acronym in terms of when we have trauma happen to us. And the COVID virus is an international trauma. It is affecting everybody and creating trauma for everybody in one way or another. And this acronym is UDIN, and it stands for unexpected, dramatic, isolating, and no strategy. And I think that acronym speaks to so much of what, as coaches, what we are dealing with and what we are holding in this space when we are working with our clients. I think it's an absolutely fantastic acronym to kind of work with our clients. No matter what is coming up people are bringing problems and issues and challenges that they are facing to the coaching space, and to kind of sit with them and say, okay, so was it unexpected, and in what way was it unexpected, and what can you do in the future to ensure that you don't experience an event that is this traumatic in an unexpected way. Yes, I will drop the acronym in the comments with pleasure, Vanda. If it's been something dramatic that's happened for them, how can you unpack, as their coach, help them unpack the levels of drama and how it's impacted on them? How can you also help them develop strategies so that they don't react in a dramatic way and escalate the drama? Was it a situation that was isolating? And if it was, how can you help them to develop strategies, to help them move from feeling socially distanced or socially isolated or professionally distanced or isolated in the workplace, and reintegrating again into the workplace. And finally, having no strategy, with something like this COVID-19 virus, having no strategy, while building strategies. And we've all seen how by putting plans in place, by building strategies, by taking action, how it helps shift our mindset into a positive and empowered mindset. So I'll definitely put that in a little bit later. I think it was a really, really great kind of new thing to learn, and I'm going to be looking into it a little bit more. But ladies, that's pretty much what I have for you today. So again, I just want to reiterate my 3 rules, which is show up consistently. Choose your lane. Choose what you will feel comfortable doing, so that you build your confidence, so that you can show up consistently, and always be saying to yourself, how can I take this another level deeper in terms of building connection? And once you've built that connection, how can you then build community? Because we know that when we emotionally engage with our clients, when we get their attention, and when we remain memorable as a professional brand, that is how we are building our own professional success. So thank you all so much. I will also be going through the group insights later today, and at 5 o'clock this afternoon I will announce the winner of my competition. So the person who will be winning 12 weeks of one-on-one coaching with me starting next week. I want to thank you all for showing up during the course of this week. I have so enjoyed your company. It has made the first week of isolation here in South Africa so much better for me, and I hope that I've given you guys lots to work on, lots to think about, and plenty to keep you busy for the next couple of weeks. So goodbye everyone, and God bless, and stay safe. And I look forward to seeing all of you showing up incredibly in some way in the digital space and online. Thank you so much. Ciao for now.